It's not always easy living as a passionate, liberty-minded, free market capitalist here in Madison, Wisconsin, a city nicknamed the Berkeley of the Midwest for good reason. And yet it has afforded me countless opportunities to engage with others who think differently than I do about fundamental ideas. My favorite story of such a time happened a few years ago when I had the opportunity to speak at a local high school about capitalism and the wealth gap. Mr. Jeremy Wallace from Monona Grove High School reached out to me with this opportunity, with the invitation, and said, "Ross, I'd like you to come speak to my civics class, but I want to let you know up front that there's two challenges that are going to come along with this invitation. First of all, my class is what he described as a sharp left-leaning class who likes to challenge speakers about the ideas that they present." And I thought, okay, that sounds like fun, right? Sounds like it'd be a good, lively conversation. Sure, challenging in a sense, but a lot of fun at the same time, right? And then he said, "Ross, there's a second challenge, though. The second challenge is that I'm inviting you to speak to my class during the last class period of the day on a Friday afternoon." And there was the real challenge, right? It's not all that long ago. I can recall back to my high school days as a junior or senior. Man, when it's Friday afternoon, last class of the day, you are ready to check out for the weekend, aren't you? But nevertheless, I happily accepted the invitation and began prepping for that presentation. I was going to have about an hour and a half worth of time available, so I prepared roughly an hour's worth of content and decided to leave the rest of the time open for questions and discussion, I should say, open discussion. And as the date approached, I was feeling confident and optimistic about the materials that I had prepared for that day. And yet nothing could have prepared me for just what went down on that Friday afternoon. My prepared remarks went well, and our open discussion time was enjoyable. The students I should say, were very engaged with the content. We had a lot of fun. But what really sticks out in my mind from that day, and it's the reason why I will never forget that experience for the rest of my life, is what happened after the bell rang to signal the end of class and the start of the weekend. As the bell rang, there were a few hands left up in the air, and it was a Friday afternoon and I didn't have to get back to work. So I said, hey, I can hang out for a little bit longer and take those final questions and field those final comments. And so about half a dozen students or so ended up hanging out after class for a bit. And we chatted, and we chatted, and we chatted some more, and we chatted, and 2 hours later, I finally had to cut us off and say, guys, we got to get out of here. I got to get home. I got to have dinner with my family. I'm sure your folks are starting to wonder where you are as well. It's after 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and we're still here in this classroom. We got to get out of here, right? But these students freely chose to spend the first 2 hours of their weekend hanging out with me, a free market capitalist, talking about ideas. And that was pretty cool. But the real kicker is that not one of those 6 students agreed with my ideology. Every single one of those students described themselves as either progressive or socialist, or there was even one self-described communist in the group, believe it or not. And yet that conversation on that Friday afternoon was one of the most delightful conversations I've ever had the privilege to be a part of. And what did I achieve that day? Well, let's make it clear. I didn't change anybody's mind, right? It's not like in the course of our conversation, the communist suddenly saw the light of capitalism and threw off his communist ways or anything like that, right? So no, I didn't achieve that. So what did I achieve? Well, I gave those students new ideas to chew on in real ways. And in doing so, I impacted their thinking and I impacted their rationale so that as they're going through life and experiencing this world, they have new thoughts, they have new rationale with which to interpret what's happening all across the world. I did influence them that day, and I advanced liberty that much in American culture. And it was awesome. It was pretty awesome. I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but if it sounds awesome, it was awesome, right? And as I reflect back on that day, I get thinking about how similar it is to what so many of us are trying to do in so many respects every day of our life, right? Particularly on social media. We're engaging others in conversation. We think, oh, if they would just give me a little bit of their time, a little bit of their attention, if they would just learn about this fundamental principle or about this history or about this idea, I know I could influence their thinking. I know that America and the world would become a freer and better place. That's a common yearning, right? That's a yearning that I've certainly experienced myself as well. That's the entire inspiration for my creating a blog and a podcast, right? Is that idea. And yet, how many of us, when we kick off those conversations with others who think differently than we do, start off with some sort of comment that sounds a little bit like, "Hey, socialist, you're an idiot. Now shut up and listen to what I have to say to you." Your words might be a little different, but the message delivered is the same, isn't it? And it influences exactly no one. And look, maybe you're just online to blow off steam or to reassure yourself of your own beliefs, and if that's the case, well, it's your own prerogative, that's fine. It's not my thing, but if that's your thing, it's your business, okay? But if your goal, if your interest is influence and actually advancing liberty in American culture, then you need a better plan. And I'm here today to introduce you to a better plan. My name is Ross Brown, and I am living the pursuit. I'm a blogger, podcaster, and entrepreneur who pursues happiness by documenting and advancing liberty in American culture. And I'm here today to introduce you to the Fix Liberty Project. The Fix Liberty Project is an online venture which teaches assertive, liberty-minded Americans how to discuss fundamental ideas persuasively so they can increase their social influence and advance liberty in American culture. To deliver upon that promise of value, we create and host live, small group online courses and bring people together in innovative online communities for ongoing discussion and learning. As the creator of this project, I draw inspiration from two great American icons. First is Thomas Jefferson, who said that he hoped above all things that the education of the common people would be attended to, because he was convinced that on their good sense we may rely with the most security for the preservation of a due degree of liberty. And second, I am inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who understood that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. It is at the cross-section of these ideas that the Fix Liberty Project stakes out its unique position in the marketplace. We are empowering members of our team with the knowledge, skills, strategies, tactics, and spirit required to make meaningful, pro-liberty impacts in their personal networks. And yes, we're having fun in the process because we are working together as a team to achieve something far greater than ourselves. If that idea excites you, if I've touched something deep in your soul in the course of this video, if you're ready to experience something similar to that of my experience at Monona Grove High School with those students that day, and if you're ready for something different, then I want you on the Fix Liberty team. Visit fixliberty.com right now to learn more. and sign up for one of our upcoming course offerings. Soon you'll be connected with other people who are passionate about this project, and together we will fix liberty in 21st century American culture from the ground up, one interaction at a time. New classes are starting right now, but spots are limited, so head over to fixliberty.com right now to sign up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.